So let's talk about extrasensory perception and how that's always been labeled as, oh, you're just gifted, or you had a veil over your face, or this or that, or witchcraft, or, Satanism, or all that stuff, which is ridiculousness. Because your extrasensory perception is your God intuitive self. And as children, we're very in tune, but we're kept under the thumb of our parents who are guiding us and guarding us. And if they're not in tune with it, they're going to stifle it within our children, within our little kids. I get it. It happened to me growing up, and I used to override a lot of things or hide a lot of things that I just innately knew or could see or could feel it. Or I always had a clear knowing. It was like messages would just get dropped in my head. And then if I had an opportunity to share them, someone would say, "How did you know that?" Just do. So because it's so much a part of me, it's not something I really had to work on and master. I could see things in my head. I could see when I do my healing work in the last 3 decades, or even before that, when I would put my hands on people or be in the presence of people, I could see like little videos, and then I would have to use my own words to describe them, or I'd have to keep it to myself unless I had permission to say it, like someone was asking me to tell them. And then I'd have to still ask permission. Is this something that person should know? And then how should I word it so that their vocabulary is going to be able to receive it? So fast forward to about 2020, when all this other shenanigans began, I looked at it as a perfect opportunity to be able to stop, drop, sit, connect with my breath, focus on my vision, my outer vision. Because I said, what I can see in here with my eyes closed, I want to see here. So I commanded it. And then I worked on it every single day, a couple times a day, for that long drawn out duration of no one going to work, so to speak. So every day I would go to the same spot for a while, and I would focus on what I call the sky show. I would make it my sky screen, and I would just do a little square, and I would focus right there. And what began to happen is I would see faces in the clouds, shake my eyes, dismiss it. I would see holograms of beings, shake my eyes, dismiss it. Then after a while, I learned to play with it. I learned to close my eyes, see how I could see it with different textures. It's the only way I know how to describe it. And then open my eyes and see what I was seeing there. And so I would practice closing for a few minutes, opening for a few minutes, closing for a few minutes, opening for a few minutes. So as I would do that, things began to mechanically move differently in the sky. And it could be a blip blip glitch, or it could be a few seconds. And then I started seeing balls of energy coming towards me. And I could see a being in the ball of energy. And it just warmed my heart. And I would just stare at this ball of energy. Now, mind you, one of the places that I would go to on a regular basis was a baseball field in the middle of my neighborhood. So a lot of people would walk by. I just didn't care. It was about me, myself, and I in the universe, and developing me. So it didn't matter that someone was walking by and I could have a face like this, staring. Yeah, I'm sure they had a lot of thoughts. They're probably like, keep going. But it is what it is, right? Didn't matter. Then I started seeing patterns of colors, almost like a Twister, like the game Twister, but they would come all in one color, like all these formations, and they would reformate, right? And so then I began to question, wait a minute, what if I'm not seeing something from the God source light? What if I'm seeing something and it's tricking me? So then I would command it to be gone, right? And then I would go for a long walk, and I'd be walking, getting a couple miles in, and it would just appear over my head in formations, pink, blue, green, beautiful colors. And I'd be like, go. If you are not from the light, you got to go. So I went through all of these phases of developing me and my sight, and then coming into full participation and engaging, as well as trusting that there wasn't a damn thing that was going to harm me or trick me. I was going to know. And then I began to see a lot of things in movement. And then sometimes I would have my sunglasses on, and I could see swirling energy and people moving and things like that. And I would slide the sunglasses down, and I would look in the same direction. And sometimes what I found was there could have been a water spot on my sunglass, and in that water was energy, and it was showing me things. So I still, to this day, work on developing my sight. And so even in those beginning months and year that I was doing this every day, a couple times a day, I would turn all the lights off in my living room. And I would see these energy balls come, and they'd spark like a light bulb sparking, and they would drop these little sparkly things down. And then one day, instead of just staring at them, I reached my hand out, and they would land on my hand, and I could feel the energy. I could feel it. And I would turn my arm this way, and I would watch these little beings of light, consciousness, up and down my arms. And then I could see my hands would disappear, and then I could just see all the energy around them. And I just began to play with this. So even now, fast forward a couple years, I can be in my room, and I could be watching something on my computer, and I will see this flash, like over there. And I know it's one of them who've come to visit. And I will go, I see you, kind of thing. And sometimes they'll come straight up and they'll hang out here, And sometimes they'll take a whole wall and they'll do this like a moving painting of beings and so on. And so I've just learned to just continue to just look at the patterns and all the other things. And the other thing I forgot to tell you is one of the things in the beginning, as I began to develop, I could have my eyes just very soft gaze, and smoke. It would look like smoke was appearing. Like there was just this energy of fog or smoke. And it would just come all around. And really what I was just seeing is energy outside of my physical. And then they would begin to show me that I don't have to have my neck crooked and looking up here. They could have me turn and look maybe at the floor of the deck of where I was sitting. And they would just, wherever I looked, they began to just show me the whole thing they could show me from out there. They brought it in close up. Then I'd start playing and I'd cover one eye. And the other thing I'm being told to tell you is you can get these really weird looking floaters in your eyes. You'd be like, and I wear contacts. So I'm like, Get out of there. For the longest time, I used to pick in my eye and try to move the speck and go, get out of my way. Get out of the way. I'm trying to see here. But what I found was a lot of that was part of the energetic structure of what I was seeing. So then I could learn to focus my eyes and not let my eyes move and let what I thought was the floater be still and not move my eyes and then watch the floater move. So there's a lot of things I could go into there, because at first I was like, oh my God, I got a parasite in my eye. What is happening? My eye's not moving, but it's moving. And so again, this was my learning experience, and I wouldn't trade it for $1 million. Wouldn't. And every day I spend time developing more and more and more of that. Okay. So I took the skills I already had, and then I took a skill I didn't feel like I had, and I worked on developing it by commanding it, so being the commander of my physical avatar. And you can do it too. You can. And if you feel like you want someone to practice with, a practice buddy, my website's always in the description. I am happy to walk this journey with you. And I just love seeing people get developed. Okay? It just lights me up. All right? Because you're living lucky, loving columns of light. Own thyself. I will see you on the next video. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.